Hey guys, welcome back. Today I just thought I would do a fun video and show you a bunch of my unfinished art journals. The reason I show you this is not to berate myself for not completing anything, but just to give you some ideas and some options and ways that you can do art journaling on a budget without having to go buy a ton of supplies and just using things you have. So in one of my recent videos, you saw that I created this using packaging from a candy box. So this was from some Nerds gummy clusters. And this is going to be my new art journal when I finish this one, which you've seen before. And this is just a journal, again, made with packaging. And I sewed the little fabric on, and then I just sewed in a bunch of papers using like a pamphlet 3-hole stitch. And this is a great size to sit on the couch and just create and play with my images that I have at leftover stickers that I have. Sometimes there is a meaning behind my pages, like this one. I was having a very bad day, and so this kind of, to me, explains what was happening. Okay, so without it being super obvious, I can look at this and go, okay, now I know. Sometimes I'll include journaling that I can read. Sometimes I make it illegible so that if somebody else looks at it, then maybe they don't understand it. But that's okay. It's part of the texture. But the whole purpose of art journaling for me is to be creative and get out possibly some of my emotions or feelings, but then also allowing myself to be creative and just do something fun without a purpose. You know, memory keeping is great, but you usually have pictures and you're trying to capture a moment in time and, you know, make it look fun and pretty for, your kids to look at or your husband, whatever. This is just creative play. This is allowing my mind to do what it needs to do and just be creative. And it works really well. And I love it doing this. So this is another art journal using a magazine. So this is literally a regular size magazine. Let me zoom in a little, maybe if I can zoom in. Okay, so this is just a regular magazine, and all I did was I took the pages, folded them in half, and glued them down. Actually, I'll zoom back up. So you can see here's the cover. I just turned it in and folded them. So this can get really chunky. You can tear some pages out. I did not with this one. But all I did with this one is I just sit and collage with it. Sometimes I'll pull out my paints and my inks. I will use quotes. Sometimes I let the page itself tell the story and I don't completely cover it up. So for example, let's see if I can find one so here's the page. Okay, so this was an advertisement. And I left the girl in here. I used some paint markers and used the collage and just collaged on top of it. Sometimes I completely cover it with another image. Okay, and then I just go to town and I collage and I paint and I stencil and I draw and I doodle and I, collage different elements on here. So same thing with this, just a bunch of different pages. I've used some rub-ons on here. Where two souls surrender to their smallness, a fleeting moment in a temporary existence, this moment is met again and again in a place that transcends time. So I think that was from like an advertisement in a magazine. But it allows me to use what I have, okay? And express what I'm feeling in that moment or what I think, it looks good. So there's that one. I actually am almost done with this one. So I'll do a flip through of it when it's finished. Same thing with this one. I'm almost done with this one. So I'll do flip throughs of those. Here's another one I did. This is just a small one using tea-dyed paper, and I just quartered the paper, folded in half, teared it, folded in half again, tear it. Actually, nope, I only folded it in half, I think twice, but and then I stapled it. I just used a little staple and stapled it, and I just created this. I must know my own mind. And I just started using little images and pieces of paper and collage images. And did I finish this one? Nope, it's not completely finished, but just little images here and there, whatever was speaking to me at the moment or whatever I had in my stash. And so you can see, like on this page, I started going through and stenciling with my Distress Oxides and a stencil, and just stenciled on the pages. And then I should finish this one this week. Maybe I'll finish this one and show you guys. And then added some stickers, you know, and just kept it very simple. There might be days where I will just sit and add a bunch of backgrounds to a journal. This one is a journal made out of paper from a Happy Planner. So I cut off the edge that has the binding on it, and I glued them together. So each page is glued to the other, so that you can see the pages are all glued to each other. I can't remember what they call this, but and it makes it a little bit sturdier, a little bit thicker. So that's what this one is. And again, just collaging some stuff on here, using some stencils, some images. As you can see, I kind of started the backgrounds on these. Sometimes I'll just sit on the couch and pull out my scrap bin and just collage a bunch of images together or colors together. And maybe I'll make something out of it. Maybe it'll stay this way. I don't know. I can always, if worst comes to worst, I can always cut these off and use this as like a base for a card or something like that. So that's another way that I did that. This one is a similar thing. Again, this is a magazine that I cut in half because it was a giant magazine. So I cut it in half. And on the top, you'll see here's the bottom part. This is the bottom part of it because the top would have her face. You can see I kind of just left this. I didn't fold the pages. I just left it as it was. And just use the pages. So when I want to create a page or two, I can glue maybe a couple of these together if I want. Use the images on there. You'll see here I collaged just a bunch of backgrounds and textures to it. This was I think this kind of became a prayer journal, if I'm being honest. So you'll see there's the top part, because the reason I say that is because I did the whole background and designed it and then wrote a prayer out on here. And the prayer is usually pretty illegible. I do that intentionally, but it's okay because God and I know what I was praying about. Sometimes I do gratitude prayers, but that's what this is. It's just a bunch of prayers that I wrote after I had art journaled on it. And again, I use Posca paint pens or Sharpie markers and just do that over that. This one, I did not write a prayer on it because I can't decide if I want to. I really like it the way it is. This is literally a bunch of images collaged together to make it look like a giant garden. And then I used Posca paint pens to kind of blend some of the colors, bring some other colors in. I can tell that at one point I used clear gesso over the top of this, and that's why it's not so shiny. And then I used the clear gesso so that I could come in and use my watercolors or my colored pencils or Posca paint pens to make this page. So if you guys want to see me do something like this, let me know and I can show you. Again, just images that I cut out or I collage or that speak to me in some way. This is just a prayer from a Christian magazine that I was reading. again, same thing. A bunch of prayers. Sometimes I'll date them so I know when I'll do it. Again, this is another page where I collaged a couple. No, maybe this is one image that I collaged. There's a couple images that I collaged because I can see up here. You can see the textures. I used a bunch of stickers, a bunch of random stickers, and then I just painted over them. And then I used my Posca paint pen to, you know, yeah, this whole page, actually, now that I think about it, this whole page is pretty much stickers. But I'm sure there's a collaged image back here. And then I just painted over it. And, you know, Brooke Shields is in the desert somewhere. Is somebody just dropped her and her dog off on the side of the road? I don't know. This is just a page that I did. I never, you know, quite finished it, or maybe it is finished. Here's another one that I collaged. I didn't use it as a prayer, but I did use it as a quote. Never be in a hurry. Do everything quietly and in calm spirit. Do not lose your inner peace for anything whatsoever, even if your whole world seems upset. So I just, you know, collaged and, you know, drew some flowers on here. I let it take me where it wants to go. This page, I started, it is a collaged image on here. This is a different image on here. And then I tried to bring in some purple and I got stuck and just left it. So this is something I actually found out while I was garbage dumpster diving. It's some kind of packaging. It's very weird, but the texture is really cool. So I plugged it in here. Again, this page isn't, in my mind, isn't finished, but that's okay because maybe it doesn't need to be finished. Maybe it's good like it is. Maybe I will finish it. I don't know. So again, another art journal book using a magazine, which you can sometimes find magazines at your local library. You can find them at a thrift store. You know, find them, maybe it's got some junk mail somewhere. This is I'll show you this one really quickly. This is just a really long, skinny one. Same thing, it's a magazine. And I was using it to create just different collages, like almost like a master board. I don't know if I will do anything with this journal. It's just in my bin of undone journals, I guess you could say. But it's funny because now as I pull them out, I'm getting inspired to do stuff with these. See, maybe sometimes it needs to sit in a drawer for a little while until you get re-inspired again. So there's that one. And then this one is my love of, if you've been to lunch with me at, you know, Cracker Barrel or a Coney Island where they have plastic bags that they put their silverware in, you know that I will collect them and take them home. And this is an example of what I do with them. So I've taken the bags and I folded them in half. And again, I did the thing where I glued them to each other and then I left the side open. So it's one long bag like this. And I left the side open so I have a pocket on one end. And I glued them together. And then I glued them to this green file folder, hanging file folder. Put an eyelet in there with the string and the rubber band to close it. It's just a really cute little pocket size. It's probably a 3x4. And then I used this as a journal. Oh, this was a scripture writing one. So I just did some collaging in it so I could start writing some scriptures in it. And when I was going through Psalms I think over the summer last year. And then it turned into, again, just an art journal. So these are pages that I collaged with my jelly plate. These are some jelly plate prints and then extra colors. And then I use my Posca paint pens. And this is just a girl. This is a magazine image. She's sitting on like a cliff or something. And so I drew her hair. It says, "We sit together in the silence and sing your psalms in our hearts." So this is a sticker from Proudly Illustrated Faith. And again, here's some texture pages. I started putting backgrounds and textures on it. I will work sometimes in stages where I will sit and create a bunch of layers. Then the next time I'll pull it out and I'll pull out my materials to start adding people to them or adding, you know, interesting objects in the background. And then the next time I'll, you know, so I don't always do one whole entire page. Sometimes I will do multiple pages because I'll work in multiple backgrounds, or I'll have extra paint. So I'll throw paint on a couple pages or whatever. And we'll do that. So this one is not complete either. But again, that's okay. The last one I will show you is a very large one. This is an old book. It's the Royal Wedding Album. So what I did with this is I took a bunch of the pages. This is going to be really hard to show you. I took a bunch of the pages and I glued them together because they're thin book pages. So I glued a bunch of pages together. So I sat one day with some Mod Podge or some glue, and I just glued 3 or 4 pages together so they were nice and thick. Because the purpose of this book is to have bigger images. So sometimes I work with really big images because this is like an 8.5 by 11. So sometimes I will want to do a bigger art journal page and, you know, use a lot of paint and texture. And so this needs to be able to hold all of that. And by doing that, by adding some thickness to the pages and gluing them together, it is able to hold the paint. So this one I did June of last year. I did this one. I'm doing the work and I'm trying to get to the place where I like myself, flaws and all. And again, literally a bunch of paints that I threw on here. Probably over time. It was probably not all at once. I know I scribbled with some crayon. I put the girl on here. I allow myself to play. You know, little kids have playtime and coloring time. Adults can too. This page I didn't do anything with because I just thought it was so pretty. I loved the arches and the flowers. I thought maybe I'll do something with it, but I decided not to. And that's okay. It's my journal. I'm allowed to do what I want. You can see this lady hanging out in her hammock. I would love to have a hammock in the yard, but you can see this is a rub-on. But these are like magazine cutouts. This is a magazine cutout. This is a magazine cutout. But then again, I just use rub-ons and paint and stencils. And I used some crayon or artwork. So it says, "Are you waiting for his next steps? Are you unsure of how it will all fit together? Me too. And I know that waiting can be hard. Sometimes it takes years to hear an answer from the Lord." Ooh, I needed to read that one today. So again, sometimes I just allow myself to go into a meditative state and just paint and doodle, and it allows me to just have fun. This page was just playing with some I was just experimenting with some what's the word? Parchment paper, I think. And you can tell there's many layers of color. I kind of hate this page. But I haven't done anything with it yet, so who knows? Again, another collage using magazine images. So girl doing some exercising. I love using windows and doors and women in my journaling and my collaging. So again, oh, sorry, as I knocked the camera. This bottom image right here, this is from a magazine page. This is from a magazine page. And then I just blend it in and kind of use my paint to move stuff around. Here's a guy making art that I took out of an image, and I just put, just has fun collaging and stenciling and coloring and everything. It's making space for miracles. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. So again, just more examples of how you can use the things that you already have around you to make art and to be creative. And I thought I would show you this to tell you too that like it's okay if you have a bunch of unfinished art journals around. That's totally okay. You will come back to them. I've also been known to throw journals away. If there are ones that like I created and I'm not in love with anymore, I didn't do anything with, I will throw it away. I don't have a problem with that. I don't use anything so expensive that I feel precious about it. So I just wanted to give you guys some ideas and show you some art journaling because I plan to do some art journaling on this channel as well and show you some of my process and what I do. And so I thought I would just give you a glance. This one I could tell that I wrote it. I did it in October 14th of last year. My personal life and my mental health are not something I'm willing to sacrifice for my job ever again. Very true. So I just wanted to show you guys some ideas on how you can create art journals so you don't have to go out and buy a brand new art journal if you don't want to. I sometimes find too that if I have a background already, even if it's like a magazine page or something like that, my brain can fill in the blanks and continue the page, whereas staring at a blank white page kind of sometimes I get paralyzed and I don't know what to do. So it's also a fun way to experiment, to find out what you like, to find out what size you like, to find out what speaks to you, what kind of journal you enjoy, that kind of thing. So just give it a try and let me know if you found this helpful, if you enjoyed any of the journals, or you want have questions, or you want to see more on how I made the journal, or you know, some of my process. Let me know in the comment section below, and I will work on making some of those videos for you guys. I want you to come and be inspired and find your creativity and let it take you where it may. So I hope that you all found this helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like and comment if you have a comment or a question. But like and subscribe to the video so you don't miss any videos coming up, and make sure that you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos when I drop them. So otherwise, I hope you all have a great day and go do something creative. Bye.